reason to be optimistic. Pearl, arguably the worst EMEA map of all time. No one can play it who was born in the continent. So it's feeling good for you guys.
You're going to start with the attacks.
She's staring at me evilly.
Day one, you start with the attacks.
You have to start early. I'm an EMEA doubter, and I always will be.
Big time I did hear the you guys.
First one, in my opinion.
Coach is getting us fired up on the 100 Thieves side. Athena, it is your turn. Who is this beautiful man with the blonde hair in the front?
Beautiful man with the blonde hair. I didn't get to see, but I'm looking at. Oh, you're talking about Cryo.
Of course.
You like the little blonde
of
streak
course,
in there.
He's getting fired
Absolutely.
up for EWC.
Dude, Cryo for me is one of the players to watch. Maybe the player to watch for this roster. There's so many hard hitters, but he's consistently been really good. Always fragging out, being really phenomenal on the Senti role, especially when he switches over to that chamber. When they've done that, they've done a really good job at enabling him, making him take that space, being aggressive with his operator, and he's held the lines for his team. But of course, the rest of the roster, they're all so good. I'm looking at Vora as the IGL, and I think he's absolutely phenomenal. And then Asuna as well, who's been on this roster for
I wanted to ask you about that, because I started with Valorant as a caster, and Asuna was in all of the games, right? He was the star. You would watch him on Raze, Bind. He would just blow you apart. Is he still the star fragger? Is he the one to lead the team when it comes to kills?
So he's not the star fragger right now. Timotino is the duelist. That being said, Asuna has been the best flex player, I think, in all of Americas right now. He's been playing Sage, he's been playing Neon, he's been playing Phoenix. He's literally been doing almost everything.
Different play styles in that group.
Few different play styles. We've actually asked him a lot of times, like, how do you deal with so many play styles? But for him, it just comes naturally. That being said, when he is on the Neon, him and Timotino have such good synergy. They're so good with the double duelist, and he can definitely get up there with the frags. I feel like towards the end of stage one, that's when he really started performing.
Uh-oh, I'm a little worried about some jet lag setting in. How you feeling about your Pacific crew?
Okay. Most cool, collected player. I don't think I've ever seen him raise his voice above a 5. And I think on the other side of things to Cryo, stylistically, they play very similarly. These are two players that have played the duelist, that have played Jet in the past. They flex onto Chamber and Sentinel at times. They like to play a slower play style. I described Jemkin when they won stage 1 as kind of like the Terminator. Like, he's always coming for you.
He's recharging right now.
But he's not necessarily, but he's very dangerous if he catches up to you, and he's going to do things at his own pace. And I think that really is very much his style. He's a very dangerous player when he's able to activate.
We've got our players ready to go. We are just moments away from kicking off map 1. And reminder, it is not best of ones. We've increased the prize pool by $750,000, and we've increased your match length by at least 1 map. Let's talk about the distance. Will we get to a game 3? And Athena, walk me through how we're getting to game number 1. What map did they choose?
I mean, this makes sense. We have the map veto. RRQ did ban Split, which makes a lot of sense against 100 Thieves. They've had a lot of success with that Sage comp, but then 100 Thieves has followed up, banning that Lotus, leaving RRQ with that first pick. They did pick Ascent, which I want to know your thoughts on that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, RRQ, it's a map that they've dabbled in for quite some time across various different metas with mixed success. So we'll see how it's going to go for them. I think these vetoes between international teams that don't play each other from different regions are always very tricky territory. I even remember going in as a coach to an international event and thinking, I've just got my best 3 maps in the veto, got like 13-6, 2-0'd, you know? Like, sometimes you have a certain read that you have a very good comfortability on a certain map. You look at how the other team plays in their region, but you lack the context for the regional strengths of some of the other teams and how they might be performing. So we'll see how the Ascent picks goes for them. We're getting into the agent select for that particular map here. Is this kind of what you were expecting on the defense here for 100 Thieves?
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Asuna has been phenomenal on this Phoenix. We actually haven't seen them play that much Ascent yet when it came to it. So kind of interesting. I could have expected a Sage. Knowing Asuna, he's had a lot of these opportunities just to insert that Sage into it. But the Phoenix makes a lot of sense. The double duelist for this team has genuinely been phenomenal. And I'm really excited to see Timotino on the Jet being able to take that space. I think this comp is pretty standard, pretty meta. So it makes a lot of sense. But on the other side, I see a Sage and a Veto.
Yeah, I mean, RRQ, they like to, get a little bit tricky sometimes. That'll be an interesting one to see as they go through their attack side here. It is naturally going to be a bit of a slower comp. You don't have as much kind of punching power as something like a Phoenix. It's going to be a little bit harder to work the map. You know, you're working in towards A main or B or taking mid. A lot of the time, a Blaze Wall and a Curve Ball goes a long way to making progress, but RRQ's just a comp full of a bunch of guys with guns. There's going to have to be a little bit more contacting, and they're going to have to get much more value out of something like a drone.
Yeah, I think it's kind of ironic that they're picking Sage against the Asuna Sage. That's been the one that's coming up with a lot of these walls. I don't know if you
they're thinking about that. I don't think they care about that.
Do you not remember on Corrode when Asuna did the boost into that tiny little hole and
everyone started doing
it?
Yep.
I'm
Full
just saying,
started doing that.
He's the first Sage. He's got that on lock. So it's kind of interesting to see. But again, starting on attack, it's kind of rough for that.
I mean, it's always going to be rough. That is the age-old thing with Ascent. In a lot of metas, a very defensive-sided map. I think if you're playing a double duelist mirror, that's a different story. But that's not going to be the case here for RRQ. Might be a little bit harder for them to get going on the attack. Hopefully, they can try to win the pistol, try to get in with a couple of good gun rounds, and then when they flip over to the defense, maybe they'll be a little bit more comfortable. I think it's interesting that Jovi is the coach of RRQ here, though, and at least he has a little bit more insight and knowledge into how some of these American teams perform, because he's been over there in that region. He might be watching it a little bit more actively than some other people in Pacific. So I'm kind of hoping that that's going to give him a good read on what 100 Thieves likes to do.
Yeah, we didn't even get the chance to talk about Jovi earlier on, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. I've actually worked with him personally on a personal level on FlightQuest when he was in charge of that Game Changers roster, and he's so good at understanding the fundamentals of the game and making sure he's communicating that to his team. He's also really good at anti-stratting, and that's what I'm scared of, because knowing how 100 Thieves play, they are very creative, but you can anti-strat them at the end of the day. And I think too, for me, when I'm looking at the Phoenix, when I'm looking at the Jet, it is kind of scary when they do switch over and switch sides, trying to get attack anywhere on either side of the map with that Sage, with that Vito. You're gonna have to bait out so much util before you're able to actually be able to do something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it can be a little bit troublesome to be attacking into these heavy senti comps, but that's where Ascent, I mean, you're going to have to be able to keep the defense honest. You're going to have to be working those main controls and be able to have many threats on the map, forcing out the Sage wall, breaking that a little bit, doing the double pumps against the Vito. That's probably what RQ has to have in mind, but that's where this man on your screen comes into the equation. Crazy Guy, very much one of the best callers in Pacific. It's really just a question of whether he has the best read at the time. Can run into a bit of a brick wall at times, but very, very good mid-rounder, and especially if a team like RRQ goes down a lot of rounds, particularly starting out on this attack, I might be concerned for someone like Zan. This is a rookie player coming into an international event. He does not have a whole lot of experience. He has played at Ascension and things like that at the past within the APAC region, but at an international event, we haven't seen this player. He's going to be debuting in replacing Mon yet. But in general, RRQ, a very, very good team when they're behind. A lot of tenacity to be able to make some comebacks and things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because on the other side of the roster, other side of the stage, you have Bang, who has done a really good job and been in charge of one of the reasons why 100 Thieves has had a good championship run, or at least has won some sort of trophy. Bang was on that roster during that iteration. And so you have this veteran of Bang who's been genuinely one of the best clutchers and so far one of the best controller anchors I've seen in Americas too. This roster, it's so confusing to me when I'm thinking about their group stage run, when I'm thinking about how they performed in Americas, because on paper, individuals, they're so good. Everyone's so phenomenal at their role, and I just haven't seen them perform the way that I've wanted to.
I think it's a similar story for both of these teams, actually. Like, both of these teams are reasonably stacked. Yeah, there's some question marks in some of the roles or in certain matchups and things like that, but you know, I'm looking at 100 Thieves placements. I'm seeing a lot of 4th, 5th, things like that. I'm looking at RRQ. I'm seeing a lot of 4th, 5th. They just can't seem to get into the top couple. That can sometimes be where you're running into a brick wall playing the very best teams, or where you're running into a team that's on a really, really good run of form. I think we had that in both Pacific and Americas. You guys had Furia in kickoff go on a crazy run. We had Nongshim go on a crazy run. So sometimes you just run into a team that's really hot, and sometimes you just run into one of the old staples that always makes top 3s and goes to international events.
Well, speaking of Furia, 100 Thieves actually beat Furia 2-0 and then moved on to beat Loud 3-0 in order to qualify for this event, which goes to show how crazy Americas is right now, where you never know who's going to win. That, and when I'm thinking of a team like MIBR, it's the same thing. Both these teams have so much potential, so much firepower. They've proven it time and time again, but they haven't been able to put up the results to show that. They haven't made it to an international. And I think for this team of 100 Thieves, when you're up against Leviathan, Crew, you have G2, NRG, MIBR. It's kind of really hard, but this is the time to kind of cement yourself and show yourself as a pillar of the Americas.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see RRQ take on an Americas team. I feel like at most international events, I'm used to seeing them play an EMEA. I feel like they've played Fnatic like 500 times, so I'm hoping this is going to give them a little bit of a different flavor, something a little bit different at the start of this group stage, because I think both of these teams, although there's no kind of easy team in this group, in my opinion, I think both of these teams will see this opening matchup and be happy of it, looking at the other side of the bracket and seeing EDG versus BBL. Both of those teams are going to be a nightmare to play. EDG's on a hot streak coming back off the back of London, and BBL is no pushover either. We already saw them earlier on in the opening Masters event of this year do quite well for themselves, have a nice little run over in EMEA. Unfortunately, Foot kind of eclipsed them a little bit this time around, but these Turkish rosters, you really just cannot take them for granted.
Yeah, I'm really looking at these players. I'm obviously a little bit biased here, but for me, my prediction, personally, my prediction is that 100 Thieves is going to run away with this, but they're not going to take it easy. I think I'm looking kind of at a 2-1 here, personally, especially looking at the maps.
Yeah, I kind of feel like 100 Thieves is probably the favorite here as well. RRQ is a hard team to root for at the best of times.
Damn, you're not even loyal
domestically,
to your teams.
they are very, very good. Internationally, they always struggle. And I've watched all of their games internationally. It has caused me great pain.
At least they've made it to international.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we can have a conversation about maybe if 100 Thieves would have done a little bit better or not. Been a while since we saw 100 Thieves win Americas. For RRQ, at least, you could only need to go back a couple of stages, and they've also already taken a title for themselves. So look, maybe they're not necessarily making it into the top couple. Part of that is down to, T1 super team, Nongshim going on a little bit of run. Paper X is always just good. It's a hard, tussle to make it into the top couple of Pacific. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Looking at these maps, at least. So we've got Ascent first. That is RRQ's pick. Then 100 Thieves. They've gone and picked Breeze, which I'm actually surprised about. I don't know how you feel about this, but seeing that RRQ hasn't had the best of success on Breeze, and seeing that 100 Thieves has done phenomenal, essentially, every time they've played Breeze, I'm really surprised that they let that through.
I think that Breeze is going to be a bit of a false dichotomy for 100 Thieves, in my opinion. I think that RRQ, the whispers are that RRQ has been very good on Breeze. In some of the officials, maybe it hasn't gone their way. In Kickoff in particular, they were the team in the upper bracket game, and they lost 3 best of 5s in a row to be kicked out of Kickoff and not make it to the opening Masters tournament of this year. And they lost every time on Breeze. Since then, they have kind of mixed things up. I like the fact that they're kind of playing the KO Harbor comp at the moment. I think it allows them to mid-round quite nicely. I like the way that they play the KO. So I think it is quite a good map for them. I want to see if they rejig things a little bit, though, in terms of their comp in particular when we head through onto Breeze, because previously they did have Monyet playing the Harbor. He was okay on it, a little bit up and down, but Zan mixed into this roster is definitely a Neon guy, and Jemkin is not a Neon guy. He kind of just fills Neon when they need to. So I'm wondering which one of those two things is going to take priority, or whether they'll actually just move in a completely different direction and start playing double duelist again. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of Jet Neon from RRQ.
Yeah. Dude, I would love a double duelist matchup, because 100 Thieves on the other side, they've been doing that. They've been loving it too, which is kind of crazy considering as soon as KO was also really, really good in Americas, but they've switched over to that Phoenix, to that Jet. I don't know if they're going to keep that essentially today, but from what I've seen, it's where they found their success. They're so good at those aggressive plays. They're really good at setting up a lot of these little mini trap plays and denying a lot of the map control, because even on their defensive side, they've taken a lot of that map control. When I'm thinking towards that A main, they're using their resources there to be able to fight, to be able to push back the other team and not make it easy. But moving on to that third map, we have the Haven, which is the decider, which for me, you're smiling right now. Tell me what you're thinking.
I mean, it's just stock standard RRQ, really. It's just like dead in the middle of the map pool. I think this is a lot of vetoes, to be honest. I swear to God, Haven is a third map decider in like every second veto at the moment. It's because it's just been in the map pool for such a long time. So I don't think that RRQ are going to be particularly happy or sad that the third map is Haven. I think they're just totally fine with it, and it's just going to be down to the better team that wins at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think both teams just pretty solid for
I
that.
think
for
RRQ
me.
is very happy with this veto,
Yeah.
if I was to guess. I
Really?
think the Ascent is a bit of a question mark pick for me, but they're always a little bit funky with their pick. I think that the Breeze stats are a little bit misleading. I think RRQ is going to be a little bit better than you would expect to be on Breeze, but we'll see. The stats don't look great, but I'm telling you, I watched and casted most of those games
Yeah.
recently. How much? What's the filter on that, by the way? How many months are we talking about?
This is Stage 1 and Masters.
Stage 1 and Masters.
Okay, it does not include the EWC qualifier,
Okay.
so there is a little bit of data
The thing
missing.
is, though, if
so.
you add a kickoff to that, those stats will get worse.
Kickoff doesn't count.
Those
That
stats will
was
get
so
worse,
far.
though.
Wait, really?
They lost 3 in a row in kickoff. Oh, boy. So, look, Xpharaoh, you can see he's locked in. He's ready for this game. He is very much meditating for himself and getting ready for this series, as are we. But we're going to take a little bit of a break, allow him to have a rest, and we'll be back with Map 1 of 100 Thieves and RRQ right after this.
Did you hear it? Sorry, I was like,
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
I think it's crazy. Our fan base is like really huge in France. I think most of the people like already saw some events we did. So I'm pretty happy to be here. We missed out on Champs Paris last year. It's good for us to have an international event that we can play in front of our crowd, you know. I don't know if it's stress, but it's like, it's a good pressure that we have. We of course want to represent the country of our org. Also, like I grew up in Paris, like it's a special city for me. So there is a lot of story about it.
We're extremely excited. We cannot wait for this opportunity. Obviously we need to get out of groups first, but that's like even extra motivation for us to meet them all. It's our organization home country, home city, you know, so that's one of the biggest goals for us for sure.
Feels good to play here, of course, because Vitality French org and we're in France now, so it will be really fun to get into playoffs and share the stage with some of the fans too. I think that will be cool for everyone, one of us and stuff, and for me it will be especially, I am playing the French org. For me, like, it's a really exciting tournament, I think.
I moved to Paris when I was 7 years old, and growing up in Paris, like, I think has been a chance for me because I don't think I would be there today if I didn't, like, if my mom didn't move to France. And as I say that, like, yeah, I'm grateful for everything, you know, like, I'm trying to stay humble, like, work hard, prove by what I'm doing every day.
Our group is definitely the strongest, but I don't know, I feel like it's also probably the most exciting to watch. We have a lot of fans here and stuff, so again, it will be cool to play in front of them and just feel the support too, in person too. French fans, especially when I'm watching like different esports and stuff, the crowd is usually like really good. Game by game, we have first KC and then we'll see like who will play next. It will just be fun to see it.
I wish it would have been like with the crowds. Unfortunately, the first game there's no crowds, but I wish there was a crowd because there's gonna be Vitality fans against KC fans. It would have been so good, but it's fine. Still, it's gonna be an amazing match.
In last year's finals, we were in a tough situation. I think a lot of different words were said, different tactics to wake up, maybe some harsh, maybe some inspirational.
I think all it took was winning that third map to give us that big amount of belief in ourselves that we can do it.
Even though it was so bad, we still inside believe that it's possible. Can't stop believing, because if you stop believing, then that's it.
Friends on 78 HP! He did the ultimate, but so much crashes!
I think the trophy felt unusual. I mean, it was my first Valorant trophy. I think for all of us as well. Especially, you know, thinking like 2 hours ago we were in the worst position possible. It felt amazing. It felt like a moment of finally.
I think I kind of knew in my head that we would win it just because it's really hard for them to be mentally strong, being 2-0 up and then going to 2-2. Like, there was no way in my head that we were going to lose that last map just based on knowing what mental state they're in and what mental state we're in.
Yeah, I mean, this year, Minibu is not in our roster. I mean, Obviously, I would have liked to play with my brother, but it's, esports, it's competition. Košmaras and Minibo are very similar in terms of playstyle. Of course, they have differences, but I think as a team, we're very similar to last year.
I think there's a lot of good teams here, but we're here to defend our title. We're gonna try as hard as possible, and teams will remember the form that we were in last year, and hopefully we can replicate it this year.
We're here to defend the title, and good luck to the teams trying to take it from us.
All right, we're back from the break here at the Esports World Cup 2026, kicking off with Valorant. Just running through a couple little teething issues here on the stage before we kick off RRQ versus 100 Thieves. The start here of Group A, I believe it is, on the B stream. Got a little bit of a banger game. Of course, Americas versus Pacific and Americas versus Pacific on the cast. Whichever one of us will perform better or worse will get replaced later. It's definitely not already decided.
Yeah, no, it's not decided on rotation. We actually, whoever performs, not only do they have to get off the cast if you lose, you also have to just leave Paris completely. So it's kind of insane.
I'm packing as many croissants into my suitcase as I can. They're pretty light. I can get a lot in there.
True. You squish them up, make a nice little stack.
That probably ruins it.
Yeah,
There's someone
ruin the
who's done
croissant.
that, and I'm sure a lot of French people are mad about it.
Definitely. But while we're talking about French, we're going to be talking about Paris, because this has been such a beautiful city to host this event in so far. And again, just to reiterate, the prize pool, $2 million prize pool, first place going home with a big chunk of that money. They've increased the money. They've made it BO3 matches at the beginning. And so this is a huge event that we're here for, and we're so excited for, especially with this matchup today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a bit more of a condensed format last year. This year, they definitely are starting to flesh things out a little bit more. As mentioned before, the best of threes is going to be huge for the players. I think it's going to allow them and the teams to really shine. You mentioned the vetoes and things like that, but also just getting more reps at an international event. I mean, I'm from Oceania, so I'm used to going to an international event, or at least supporting a team at an international event. Being the 16th seed,
Okay,
you
humble
verse
brag.
the first seed, and you get banged in a best of one, and then you go home for 20, 30 hours. So sometimes that's how it be. At this event, not the case. You get to play at least one best of three, multiple best of threes. You've got the GSL format, upper lower bracket. We're not playing round robin or any of that nonsense. And we're just going to go and send 2 teams from each groups into the playoffs.
Yep. Sounds great to me. And for those of you that are just jumping in, it is 100 Thieves versus RRQ on this stream. And we've talked a lot about both these teams, talking about how they're both powerhouses in their own way, and a little bit about the vetoes. And while we're just getting things started here, I wanted to talk a little bit more about 100 Thieves. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that I would have wanted to talk about 100 Thieves? But they've been so
Pop off,
phenomenal.
queen.
But I don't know. That caught me off guard. I don't know how you feel about this, but for 100 Thieves, for me, they've been one of the most creative teams that we've seen in Americas. I say this even starting in kickoff when they had the waylay. The way that Timotino was being set up to use that waylay was really well done, and I feel like I didn't see that many teams abuse it in a way that they did. They ended up using that waylay to get a lot of that information, but be able to refrag back and be able to go really quick into another direction, just completely catch the other team off guard. Obviously, waylay no longer that good in this meta, but I'm excited to see what they can kind of bring to the table here, if they've made any changes to their comps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the side of RRQ, they tend to like to keep it pretty vanilla. Of course, they have their own flavor of things that they like to do. We have already seen...
They've just picked Sage and Vito on Ascent.
Pacific is a wild place, okay? I know
You can't say that in a safe
Americas, they go, oh my god, they changed one agent. Wow,
Yeah,
this is
that's a
really
big
creative.
deal.
In Pacific, we're picking 3 to 5 duelists sometimes.
We go on strat roulette and we spin a
So
wheel for
yeah,
Duel.
I mean RRQ. The thing is, RRQ stylistically would probably be considered a bit more of a vanilla team because I think a lot of people who don't watch the region might regard Pacific as like every team just runs it down. RRQ definitely plays a lot more like a European or an American team. They play a slower pace. They mid-round a lot.
Yeah.
They don't just play 30-second, site exec simulator. They definitely do kind of work the map a little bit. They try to be a bit clever with the calling. They try to have some decent amount of prep. Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting thing to kind of be tackling stylistically against a team like 100 Thieves. And I think in general, that's kind of my own opinion about why sometimes RRQ might struggle at internationals because they often try to play, like they're playing a team like Fnatic and they're like playing a slower style. And it's like, we're just kind of doing what you're doing, but maybe a little worse sometimes. Although they have had some very close maps. But in Pacific, I mean, they very much are the team where they do like to slow down the mid-rounding a little bit more. They do like to mix up the pacing as opposed to some of the other teams that are a bit quicker. Your Paper X's, your full sensors, things like that. They like to send it a bit more.
Yeah, I think for 100 Thieves, they've definitely done a good job at balancing both those things. Being able to play somewhat aggressive when they need to be, especially when you're looking at how they were playing versus Loud, which Loud is known to be super phenomenal with their fragging power. Players like Luke Show just going out there, trying to get as many picks as possible, but 100 Thieves were able to shut that down. They're so good at being able to play back when they need to, being able to just be aggressive, and maybe running it down is the strat to do. They've done such a good job, and a really big props to Vora because his IGLing, his mid-round has been phenomenal as well. I feel like he's really driven this team to success, and for me, when I'm looking at the coach and IGL synergy, Vora and his coach have been so good at understanding each other, building these playbooks, building these strats, having such a deep map pool, but seeing that in the server, nobody's actually lost or confused or overwhelmed with what they want to do. So I think for me, from 100 Thieves, that's why I keep talking about their creativity. It goes way beyond through and through the relationships, not just in the server, but also outside of it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of overlap, honestly. If you just discuss both of these teams and say what their strengths and weaknesses are, you talk about having a strong mid-round caller, you talk about having a bit of a slower paced, maybe baity at times star player that likes to just let the game come to them, evolving a core gradually, incrementally over time. I think that's the same thing for RRQ. They've had a certain core of players. Xfer has been around since literally the inception of Pacific franchising as the centerpiece of RRQ. Then you had Jemkin, you had Crazy Guy come in a little bit more recently than that. Similar to 100 Thieves, you've got some players that have been around since the very beginning, and they've kind of incrementally built the roster around them over time, changing in one or two players at a time over seasons until they end up with their current iteration. So I think both of these teams, as mentioned before, maybe falling a little shy of some international qualifications. This event is a good opportunity to prove themselves against the global field.
Yeah, and as much as 100 Thieves have these veterans, you've talked about the globals, we've talked about the stages. This is the first time that 100 Thieves, at least this iteration of the roster, has gone to a global, has played on a global stage. So I'm really interested to see how they face up to that. Is there going to be a shift in mentality? Is there going to be a little bit more pressure? I'm looking at a player like Timotino, who's just come up from challengers into this roster. This has been his first time in the VCT. This has been his first roster, and he's performed absolutely phenomenally. It took him a little bit of time to warm up at the beginning of kickoff, but he's done such a good job. He's blossomed into a very well-rounded duelist player, someone who does his job really well, pulling those crosshairs, not necessarily constantly fragging out, but being able to do that job, get the movement in there, open up and make the space for the rest of his team. So it's honestly still a question mark for me how they're going to perform. If I'm thinking of the VCT Americas 100 Thieves, then 100% I understand where they are. I know who they are. I've seen them play. They're so phenomenal. But when it's moving to a different style, it's kind of going to be interesting to see how they do on the global stage. But that being said, we still have a couple more things to work on. And before we jump into the game, we're going to go into a quick break.
The flash. Oh, hello!
No!
Signed. Gets the timing. They found the rat this time. Now the split back to B, but there's a player ready and waiting. Jenny has his nade primed. Again, can just look to slow them down. Paranoia in, and there's the man of the moment, Chichu, with that rifle. Even escaping from this, you're still walking back into another player in the form of Signed. He's got himself an additional weapon, but there's Lover's Rock. 2 quick shots. But they still have to answer the question of where do we go from here? The C site seems the safest, and that allows for that rotation all the way back to the other side of the map and a post plant.
Oh, Lover's Rock almost getting caught, but he's on the right agent for it. Quickly able to slip away back to the C site. They know the Outlaw is lurking around, and for Signed, that's a big problem. For Chichu, not so much, at least for now. Ult's going to be put into play from the shadows. He sat in the backside, spots 1, maybe even 2. They definitely have the info to work with. Loida as the same himself. Lover's Rock wraps around, they double swing, take Signed down, and leave Chichu in an unwinnable spot. Time against him. A shot landed by Loida confirms it. A big lead for BBL. And honestly, I'm surprised to not see like a pause coming through from EDG, even just to settle the nerves.
Yeah, I think it might be one of those games where you're just kind of going like, okay, let's go with the flow. Let's learn a little bit of our own weaknesses, but also, yeah, as you sort of said, I think a lot of the mistakes have been a little bit more blatant, like gaps being left and things that I don't think you necessarily need to be told that need to be fixed. Chichu, though, still having an insane game. He's being matched, at least by 1 or 2. Gianni tries to get aggressive, but they are just waiting on the other side to try and catch them out. Lover's Rock, he's already taken quite a bit of damage. A push in towards Chichu might not be advised. Ooh, maybe now it will be. He tries to TP away. And again, look at the space that's already been claimed.
Nice shot by Concon. But we need another to pull them back into this round. The other problem being with plenty of members to this attacking side, they don't need to worry all too much about rotating that player through without moving Loida, but the flank coming through is a big problem. Signed has not been spotted. They seem to have no idea that he even can be here. There's a freebie on offer, and he will claim it, leaving Rose to try to fight back. And now finally, Loida does need to rotate through, but when he does, it's too little too late. Big round for EDG.
Yeah.
Right in the nick of time as well.
I think that obviously Signed great work on the timing on the flank, but the big player in this round is Concon. Because not only does he get these 2 kills, I do think this is audacious from Lover's Rock to even look in that direction, but then he starts baiting for his teammate. Because eventually someone's going to look behind. But if you have a guy on Jet jumping around with his knives out, you're looking at that guy. You're looking at the guy who's the biggest threat in the server most of the time. And that's the moment that gives the Signed the opportunity to strike. 11-6. A break back after 4 in a row. But is it the first of many? Or a blip?
Oh, LaRock having no look when it comes to these showstoppers. He's picked out of the air again. 3 versus 4. Damage done to Rose. He'll be taken down with ease. Miles away, and the showstopper lands for damage. Not for the kill, but it feels like enough has already been done. They are throwing everything at this one. Even in the 4v2, no room for error. And EDG, well, EDG were making an easy meal of it, but now Signed and Chichu. 1 away from the ult on Loida. He can run, take the orb outside C, and then plant with ease. This has turned into a much more dangerous round.
There's the orb. It does seem like this has been thought of, though. Look at Chichu. Chichu is so ahead of the game. He's so ahead of it. He's so ahead of it. He knows exactly what's coming. He's going to be waiting for his opponent. The second he goes with the plan, you thought he had a big brain play, Loiter, but Chichu's brain is even bigger. Was there way before anyone would have expected it.
I almost don't care who wins this. I feel like Chichu's MVP. The guy's just been putting in a shift, man. So many impressive rounds across this map. He's kept them in it. And this would have been a very flat first half, if not for him, and it would have been a game over. Although absolutely anyone watching the 1v5 defuse would have cancelled that. But 4 rounds left to go. The gap's starting to narrow a little bit again. But the thing is, in the back of my mind, it is any moment that BBL can answer up. It's not even waiting for the next round when the full buy comes through. They're just as dangerous here with pistols.
couple of ults here and there to play with as well, but very situational ones. And the ult for the defenders is pretty much useless. Get rid of one of Larocque's weapons, but Khan's push already gets an open. Chichu, very open ground, had a high-low, but
nice.
It ended up a bit low in the round. Gianni at least keeps them the advantage. The Nightfall has been sent through, and in quick succession, both players pick up a kill. Nobody's been bottom of the team so far, but they need him to win this one.
Crapped up, got Rose. But the first kill might not be the easiest. Good flash, LaRock caught in the corner and caught by nobody. It's been a rough map for this guy so far, but the win now fills his sails. Again, a necessary clutch. BBL constantly on the edge of running away with this. And yes, it should have been an easy round. They had pistols, yada yada. I don't care. For nobody, that's the round he needs. A clutch to get him back in the game.
I think they were all laughing after that one because it was definitely a little bit more shaky after you full blinded with the flash, but very well played in the end. And well, you mentioned timeouts earlier. It's going to be BBL taking one. 3 rounds in the lead, but feeling the pressure. And I think they know, as we talked about in this group in general, you're playing up against EDG with a stand-in. Still a tough opponent, but I don't think any of the opponents look any easier on paper. Like a Full Force, RRQ, 100 Thieves. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not they can get this one over the line. Because if it slips and then you go into an ascent where, hey, your opponents have picked it after not playing it. You can't have prepped anything going into that map. You start to feel pressure.
And for BBL, we already mentioned it, winning this map, having Ascent up next, it could set them up to knock this out of the park 2-0 to avoid that sunset in the end. Never know what EDG are going to be pulling out there, or how high up the power creep can go as we get later into this series. But I see the fist bumps from BBL, their timeout coming to a close, and it's time to get right back into the game. We said, lights out for Chichu. Looks like Lloyd is matching his performance as well. Certainly had his fair share of rounds, but for Chichu, it's that underdog story. It's because they're behind, and he's been the one fighting back in for them. And on this team, that's bloody impressive.
But even after 3 rounds in a row, it's going to be an operator with no shields coming into this round for Khan. So definitely a little bit more vulnerable. Okay. See you later, LaRock.
All because of that clutch, you know? Wouldn't have had the confidence to spray otherwise.
Most people would have thought that nobody was there. But not nobody. Khan in position. Waiting. Had a teammate to support, but in this case, with an advantage already, he's just going to fall back.
Another pick for Khan. This time the trade is there. It's Rose. Quick on the trigger, but Jenny, a snake in the grass, striking when they least expect it. Leaves it all onto Kreven. 4 to find. The first doesn't come too easy. He's left on 5 HP, and that nade is hunting him down. He stands reasonably close to it, and okay. He's alive. The smoke fades. A player up top. Good flash! And now a 1v1. Surely not for Kreven. But the spike is down. And Jenny is protecting it. One away from a showstopper, but that's not going to come online here. That's for a future round instead. Kreven playing it slow. The problem is, without opening that door, Jenny's going to know you're coming from this direction. And Kreven, it's been so long, he doesn't know where his opponent's gone.
A single bullet needs to be a headshot. Gianni will be there to close the round. It is close to an all-time clutch for Kreven with 5 HP, but it is still the streak of rounds going. Now, again, it's incredibly costly for EDG. They were already on the back burner just getting an operator into the round. You see why they got the operator, because of how fast Khan is. The snake in the grass this time flips to the other side with Gianni. Having another big round on the Rays. Of course, as I said, we've seen him on Duelist in the past, but it's him swapping back to it for this. He's looking fairly comfortable.
Yeah, good work by Jenny. Just sat in the corner. Shame that there was no utility for Kreven to make that an uncomfortable fight on the other side. But for LaRock, that's a very big scalp to take early on. Jenny, not liking the odds of taking this round. Showstopper goes through, and he finds LaRock. How? I don't know how he survived, got his weapon out, landed the shot, and now BBL, okay. They'll recover the rifle. They'll deal damage to Jenny. But the advantage sat firmly with the defense for now.
Weaponry dissipating. A heal onto Gianni as well, so although he took damage early, that's now dissipated, and the other side can't have that same sort of luck. Kreven is down to just 45 HP. It would need to be a couple of instant shots once again. I don't know what you're going to do with that information. Yeah, there's a player there. Now for Kreven, he's gone back, but he's walked straight back into the hands of Kankan. That operator still in hand. And for Rose, well, he's not been having the best of games individually. Might get one for free. The second player would be a little bit harder to land, but he knows exactly where Kankan is. Knowing and doing anything about it is a very different story.
Yeah, well, this is a team in the form of VDG that looked completely deactivated. They were making so many basic mistakes going through that first half, even a little bit here. But we always knew it's a matter of time before they wake up. I was starting to think maybe it would be a map, maybe it would be a series. But it looks like they found their form right in time. BBL slowing down and another timeout. The second for BBL being called, and quite quick succession as well, as they're finding no answers to what EDG are putting out.
I feel like we're getting early spoilers of sort of what I was talking about in the next map, where it's like, oh, why would they go towards Ascent? It's like, well, if you can have Kankan with an operator on the defensive side, he might just kill everyone. And that's kind of what he started to do, like lightning fast reactions on the operator. And then you still have the likes of Chichu up the top of the board. Gianni started to wake up. We know that they have so much individual talent that even if a piece of their puzzle has been removed, the stand-in at times might not even have to do too much. And right now, well, what's that? 2 pauses in 3 rounds? 2 rounds? Like, you could see that BBL are really feeling that pressure. And you have to start to fear that if you let this map slip away from such a massive advantage, I don't know if the next one's even going to be remotely close. I think it is. It's within 2, right? Because they lost 3 in a row. They took a pause, lost 2 more, and took another pause.
2,
so
yeah.
I think it is literally 2 pauses in 3 rounds.
Round 22. A 1-round gap now. A team that was trailing and deactivated has found their way back into the game. Second wind, but it's Kankan to fall right away. LaRock said no look on the showstoppers this time. He's finding his mark. Pushing up to 12. This could be the round for BBL. Good damage, though. Jenny hunting down his prey. Blood in the water. And he's hot on his tail. The classic trying desperately to find him, and it will be nobody to do it. At least dealing with 1, but still a man advantage for BBL. And now the time is ticking in their favor.
Oh, they're using everything. This is literally just blitz all your ultimates at once to try and scrape your way through a round. This is a must-win now for BBL. They'll have nothing into the next, but they are taking this one home. Signed, the stand-in, the coach in a 1v4, and with the credits desperately low. Not today.
Now listen, maybe he'll be a replacement on the main roster if he wins this one. You can see him already leaving to the other side of the map, fleeing for the save. 12 for BBL. At long last, it felt like an inevitability 6 rounds ago, and yet it has been a good streak from EDG.
But that's not recreatable at all. Like, you can't
That
use
was a big ult, Tom.
3 high-impact ults in 1 round. And okay, sure, LaRock got the opening anyway, but the showstopper definitely helped get rid of Chichu. And okay, I'll say that the Steel Garden didn't really do anything other than slow 1 player down at least a little bit. But it has also put the economy on the back burner a little bit for EDG. No operator on their side. In fact, it's Lovers Rock. Now, they do have a Blade Storm. That's going to help, but there are definitely pieces missing here and there. And an immediate 4-player aggression. Kankan 1 for 1. The nade won't quite kill off Loiter. And after seeing that many players, surely that's an immediate response from the attack to go back the other way.
Kankan's dealt with. Chichu still alive, and with the TP as well. He can move to this A site if noise is heard, but Sign not yet getting the read, and the push coming his way. Now a lot of utilities making its way in, and in a moment's time, you're going to see Lovers Rock looking for that opening on the up for Sign. Oh, yeah, I think he's going to walk into it. Oh, no! Lovers Rock walks into him. Great shot from everybody on EDG. They have shut down that push. The danger averted. 12-11. We're going the distance no matter what.
Yeah, so I mentioned it. You get rid of the ultimates, and that round, even the last one might have not gone their way. And that is not how they would have hoped for that one to go. The individual stepping up. That's it. Signed 12 and 14 right now. He's holding his own within the server. A man that was playing in the Ascension system last year. So as I said, it's not like he is way out there of a player who's not ready to jump into the server, but it's still a lot of pressure going up against BBL. Some of the best aimers you'll ever see, and while they're going to try and play off that now, Lovers Rock immediately with an opener. The trades were going their way, but they're signed. He's now leveled up 14 to 14. At OT, well, it almost feels inevitable at this stage.
Lloyd might be able to get some work done, but nobody is sneaking up on his left, and he has no idea. Great shot from nobody, and with signed on a 3K overtime, locked in EDG. They, like, I can't stress enough how out of this game they looked at a certain point.
Yeah.
The mistakes they were making were unforgivable. Like, for BBL, I could see a world where they win this, where they even look dominant on any map because they have the individuals coming out the gate, shredding. That wasn't the case. It was mistakes on the other side, and now that EDG have tightened up the game, it's looking a whole lot better.
I want to go the other way with it. BBL win both pistols. They win, I think, 2 rounds off of straight BS.
Yep.
And now they've gone to OT.
Yep.
This is a choke and a half. Like, they were handed the map.
Also.
And now they are in overtime. Like, the pressure is severely on them. I don't think EDG could have given them anything more to take this game over the line. If they lose from here, I'm not going to lie, it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, you come into Ascent then with a different mind frame than the quasi-advantage you might have thought of for BBL earlier, that hometown hero when it comes to the 82nd province of Turkey. But you come in after a loss like this, and I'm not sure that matters at all. Confidence will take a knock. For EDG, a slow start to this attack side. They've seen so many aggressive rounds out of BBL. Think about that C push especially that had a lot of success for the defense, so they wait. And now, push comes to shove. And that was very dangerous. The spike was involved in that fight, but it does make it out. Man advantage. Jenny, they know he's tucked in the corner, and they want to deal with him. That's a bold play.
Can't go with an attack side operator. He really has not been missing. He's got one every single time. It's only if there's someone ready and raring to trade him. Walk back. Not going to be caught. EG have just completely paused. They have left their opponents with little to no information. The corner being flashed, by the way, just to make sure there's nobody there. Rhodes is already dead. They were still wary that there could be a second. But now with a plant and an advantage extending even further, the lead looking like it's going to be taken. And the Hubert Kankan, you know he's not going to miss that shot. Lovers Rock needs to try and recreate it, and it is all but over. 13 to 12 now. EDG, after being an insane deficit, now on map point.
And even this defensive round, it doesn't have that same flair as what we saw in the first half. The pressure they were putting on in the extremities, the early fights that were going their way every time. And now, the shoe's on the other foot. It seems like EDG have the plot armor. They have managed to bounce back from a huge deficit and delete all of those silly little mistakes that were there. That quick of a turnaround is impressive, but it's also what you expect from a squad like this. As said, with this stand-in, I expect them to get better and better with every map under their belt. I didn't think it would be every half under their belt. A chance for 14 to close the map here and go on to a set. EDG's map pick, and often a hometown map for any Turkish team. Go in there after dealing a blow like this. That'll be a huge advantage. I think they just noticed he knifed the Prowler. It might be Concom with the op. Why wouldn't he shoot it? Okay, let's go the other way.
Oh. The attack side going to try and take back that space towards C. Kankan in position once again, and of course he doesn't miss the shot. Leaves them a man down, and the C site executes failing, but with the opener onto nobody, that definitely makes things a lot more interesting. The A site is completely under their control. Before they'd had signed on that side of the map. This gives BBO a pretty good opportunity.
Plank coming through. Could be onto LaRock, still 2 away from that showstopper after the plant. And look who's sneaking his way in. Chichu's gone for the spam. Looked like it was on for the start. Immediate swap from Concon. He shoots, drops his weapon, and goes in for the fight, but that's not going to work. And with him taken out, the rest of the squad a little bit further behind, and a showstopper now online. The round is tied up in a neat bow. BBL not going to let this one slip just yet, and they'll get another chance at that defense.
The back and forth continues. A much needed one as well. I feel like that resets this into an even playing field once again. I was just worried they were going to completely fall out of the map after it coming all the way back to overtime. But it seems like BBL still have some fight within them. No surprise that Concon's invested back into that operator once again. The defenders looking to reaggress towards that seaside, but Concon is waiting. This time not missing the shot, but he has missed 2 players already on the walk-up.
Same space take from BBL. This time, without the season play. A little bit of a different layer to hopefully allow them to push through to give Lovers Rock the chance to clean house. On the other side of the map is where EDG are focused. Spike outside A. A jump spot that they're hearing every couple of seconds, but they don't know about Rose. BBL are setting traps on each extremity. Finally, Lovers Rock has walked up. He's hearing the steps into B now. He knows the play, and they are none the wiser. But the shots don't land. That was a huge play, perhaps round winning. The BBL are going to have to find something else to fight with.
They can't keep up that fight. Means there's no longer going to be a flank. The paranoia is perfect, though. That's the advantage.
One tap.
Nobody waiting in position. Kreven, however, catching. This is looking like a round set up for victory. But still, Concon and Chichu wait, but it's a missed shot. An uncharacteristic one at that, and a flawless defensive side round coming out of the side for BBL. They need one more attack side round, and they'll finally close out the map that they started.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't be the blowout victory that it looked like. A complete mismatch in that first half. But the same can be said when you look at EDG's play in the second. For BBL, this is the chance to take it home. The attack side's being kind to them in that last overtime. It was LaRock having a fantastic round. Finding that showstopper online to close it out. It looks like they will put a lot of focus towards this left side of the map. 2 players outside B, maybe 3. We could see that door swing open and an immediate challenge at the C site.
Swap up. Where we've seen Sign playing a nice shot from nobody off rip, but they're still continuing the walk up, and Jenny's just waiting on the cross. All too easy for those initial openers, and losing 2 personnel off rip. You almost feel like it needs to be a mistake for somebody over on the EDG side if they're going to turn this round back.
Oh yeah, they'd have to trade out the mistakes made by BBL. No, you're just about going to survive that on 1 HP.
Okay,
but
yeah, never mind.
Concon goes
I was
back.
about to say, Concon doesn't miss.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. He hit both shots. And now Sign, waiting on the side. Flash for him to swing. Well, he doesn't swing. He plays it patient, plays it slow. Maybe that's a mistake. Nobody now dropped, and Sign under pressure from that right side. The off of Lovers Rock. Now all eggs in that basket. Good damage done, but whoa, it's a bit shaky. They get there. 14-14. Another overtime needed.
Yeah, just bear in mind, guys, this is map 1 of the entire tournament. It feels like we could be in for the long haul here.
You have to wonder, though, how the hell did nobody get a kill and get out when 3 players were looking at him? What the hell were they thinking then? Shift walking through. That was like 2 seconds later. Where do you think nobody's gone? And it wasn't even him. They've got another teammate.
They looked and they were like, oh, nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
14-14. Concon survives, but not been purchased up on the other side. Seeming like both teams have now found their rhythm, but only one can take this map over the line. The map choice of BBL. Definitely feeling a little bit more tentative than what we'd seen so far in this map. Less fast-paced rounds, patient stuff, and this has been a big point of contact. Kreven just spams into the smoke again. There seems to be a regular occurrence of just players picking a timing, spamming, and almost getting a kill.
A minute on the clock. And EDG still spread thin. The spike was alone outside B, but now it's regrouped. Okay, danger's averted, but the problem is this bait setup. We saw it before from
Paranoia.
BBL. The jump spot's there from Loida. He
just
sees them
swings.
and hits the paranoia, but instead he swings out wide. Now goes down. Rose has to have a sensational performance. It's a bit shaky. Could have been 2, but 1 found. At least for BBL, it's just a one-man disadvantage, and they've got the rotates in just in time. Lovers Rock and Kreven are here to hold the line. The early flank from LaRock, but Con just keeps ripping them to shreds. It's EDG with the lead again, and another chance to close this out.
He's just been getting better and better as the map goes on. Like I've been saying, it's a lot of the time it's been one and dones. This is him finding a player with a classic, walking into the site with an operator, finding another couple, and then closing it with a blade storm. The better this guy gets, the scarier things become. By the way, you remember when Chichu was like miles ahead of the top of the board? He's now third.
Concom was 15 and 15. So he's had a little bit of an awakening.
Yeah.
A small amount. And it is scary to be in BBL's camp right now. The attack side having to be mounted again. That spam was decent. The Rock tagged up. No more bullets fired. He'll survive that engagement. Oh my god, Lover's Rock is going so fast. And he's caught Chichu completely off guard. And another under Lover's Rock belt. How has he gotten away with it? Now pushing in for more. A third will be found. This one not quite caught off guard. And that makes it even more impressive. Con, yeah, he has had an awakening. But this might put him back to sleep. A 1v4 with an op. You gotta think he's got no chance.
Yeah, I'd say so. Doesn't even have the shields to play with, so can't even take the additional little bit of tickle damage. Like, I think he's just waiting to say, okay, surely someone gets greedy. Someone starts looking and hunting for an additional kill. They do not. He's still going to get one. Again, it just seems so clean with it, but this is just stat padding at this point, and eventually Lovers Rock will close out with a 4K. It's almost identical to the last round. A duelist with a 4K closing out the round, and we are about to head into round number 31. Map 1. The entirety of the tournament is going the distance, but eventually, or at least I hope, we do have to find a...
You'd think so. Tom, we've had some long games in our past. We've had some lengthy affairs.
Yeah, BBL were one of them.
Yes, they
were.
were.
Not this iteration of it, but it was BBL. I'm hoping they're not going to do that again, especially with Ascent coming up next. The opportunity for it to maybe even be even longer, but I'm going to see ourselves a timeout taken, a chance to talk through with the coaching staff once again. Of course, Key was pretty much trying to stem the bleeding all the way through that comeback from EDG, and he failed to do so. It's now whether or not he can find that little piece of magic. We've seen a lot of the attack side rounds that sort of defaults into the pace he hits have been what has worked for either side. And with both star duelists stepping up over the last couple of rounds, and we always talk about it, the rest of regulation becomes irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you got 30 kills or you got 2. If you can win an OT round for your team, that's all that matters at this stage. And well, thankfully we don't have anybody in the server with 2 kills. It is a decent spread with both IGLs clearly having to work overtime. And LaRock going into OT has bought a judge.
Naturally, and he's going to find success with it as well. Now, if Jenny hasn't just hit his desk, I think that's what I heard, then I'll be very surprised. That's an upsetting way to have the OT round kickoff right after the pause. EDG down a man, attempting to take some space on site. Chichu has a nice paranoia lined up, but it hasn't caught Kreven. He's stood up on top of the wall, and he's been spotted, but the blind was good in return. Kreven's found himself 2. Signs surrounded is dealt with. And BBL on 16.
Yeah, I think that might have actually been a coach adaptation. They've been walking into that smoke, tripping the wall. Sometimes you've had IGL Rose in that smoke, waiting for them to come through. They killed him. This time you just put a judge there. You walk into that smoke, you're dead to rights, and then they have the players ready and waiting. Solid paranoia coming through from Loiter as well to help out his teammate. And then Kreven just landing the shots as he always does. 16-15. As said, we've seen these constant back and forths. In fact, we're creating a parallel timeline at the moment, but that means this time we need a defensive round from EDG to keep this one going.
Well, Concon's being the one to find success, and again, he's walking about, pushing up on B to start with the flash blinded, so he knows there's someone here. Instead of continuing, he will wait for them to walk in, but this one, an uncharacteristic miss in a very crucial round. He goes in for more and misses once more. This could be it. EDG have lost one big player, the top fragger on the server, down and out. Jenny tries to pull it back, but he's traded, and Lovers Rock finding sign seems to have sealed the deal. The A site, the plant on its way. And nobody in Chichu, all that stands against them. Nobody's had a tough game, but he stepped up in the moments where it mattered. And Chichu, well, he was on a tear. When this team was down and out of this map, he pulled them back in so many of those rounds in regulation. Now they have to do it again.
It's still so tough to break in on. Flash, ready and raring to go. On the other side of things, the walk up at least, but it's been pinged. They have an idea that somebody could be going through. Never mind. Chichu made it past. Loiter's position, though. Are they aware that there could be a player over towards the box, trying to create a crossfire, trying to force someone into a peek, and that's what they've done. Chichu, once again, his opponent TPing! And they are going to turn it back! The time looking like it's going to be enough as well. That is insanity from the side of EDG. How have they pulled back that 2v4?
I said it, and nobody's been there in the crucial moments, and Chichu, again and again, he is digging deep for this team. Everyone talks about Concon, and for good reason, but this guy's been the highlight. Look at him go.
He went quiet as well, though. That's the crazy thing. He had like 20, or was it 17 kills in the first half.
Yes.
Went missing for a bit, and then goes, oh, you guys need me again. Cool.
It was like those last 5 rounds of the second half turned it up to another level to keep them alive, and he's done it again. Map point, and up against BBL going into Ascent. God, that could be series. But now, EDG, they get another chance at this attack side. Fight straight into C. They're wasting no time on this run, and indeed wasting bodies because Concon, he's found his first already. Rose catches, oh, he doesn't catch the wraparound. Jenny's left on 7 HP somehow.
Maybe it's Loiter's turn. Chichu, the man up against him, looking for the fight, and he'll win it again, no doubt about it. And it's left all onto Lovers Rock. This is not the gun you want to have in this scenario. Well, nobody's there to close it out. And swings and roundabouts once again, the back and forth of this game. Guess what? EDG have another at point.
I can't believe Jenny just survived there. Rose was on his tail. Jenny was blinded up, looking the wrong way. Took a few shots, not even knowing from where. And ends up surviving on 7 HP. That's the face of a man who knows that should have been his kill, but also who knows this map is slipping away now. EDG 17-16. It's a matter of time before we see 2 in a row in the same overtime. I mean, 30 and 31 technically, but they were different OTs. You know what I mean. And for EDG, this could be it. They dealt with Concon early last time. And this time, another missed shot. But that was a harder one.
Oh, already a much faster paced take, but it's a ruse. It's a bait. They're pushing them in towards Signed, who's ready and waiting, but already getting smoked off. Chichu also with paranoia, but I think they're past it. They are past it. A little bit further ahead than maybe he's expecting. One of the danger men gone. A post plant once more. But if you could lose a 2v4, you could definitely lose a 4v5, sorry. And well, let's even things up once again.
That was what should have won them the round, leaving Lovers Rock behind rubble, but nobody cleared it. Nobody checked for it, and now they can make their way back to the site. Hard to find value with the up breaking through, but he finds it in the choke points. With the rock down, it's Rose left, and not for long. EDG, they dug deep and delivered map number 1.
It's insanity. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with an operator get that many kills with that position. It makes no sense that Concon is just able to sit there like a turret from above. And for BBL, this is a brutal defeat. You were so far in the lead. You took double pauses in the space of 3 rounds. That is crazy. Nonetheless, we're going back to Digon and the desk.
Thank you very much, Tom and Mitch. That was crazy to have that happen like that. Just insane. We're getting ourselves free Valorant off the top. I know that we had the pause to kick things off, but we basically had half a game right off of that one. Welcome back to Desk. Digon here alongside Kukuka and Big Time. And it's just a great way to have our first round of Valorant here at EWC.
I mean, welcome to the EWC, people. I mean, this tournament has come in with a bang. It was absolutely unbelievable. I think BBL are going to be so upset about how that game turned out. They had every advantage. Their map pick, 2 pistols, a bonus, a ninja defuse for crying out loud.
The ninja defuse was unreal. And also, it's by the hands of Lovers Rock. We were speaking about him going on the Neon. He wanted to go face-to-face against Kankan. And every single time that Kankan was getting around for EDG in an impressive manner, Lovers Rock was like, I can do that too. I can do that too. I'm going to show you how. Crazy the fact that we got there onto the overtime. And also, we were saying about EDG and playing in with the sub. I think that Tom and Mitch were doing a very good job highlighting some of the mistakes, but also the way they bounced back. Some of the players, like some of the individual plays that we have seen just during this first map of EWC have been unreal.
Yeah, I mean, you got to talk about Kankan. He is the guy for EDG. He always has been, and he has a very slow first half. You know, he's down there towards the bottom of the scoreboard. He's missing his shots. Yeah. You see the way he activates, and you see how the rest of the team come alive around that. I felt like their defensive side macro was so solid as well, and that's what got them back into the game. So also credit to Signed on he's on no anchor those sides. Not easy. I think no doubt they deserve that map.
Yeah, absolutely. It was towards the end of that first half where the score was heavily in favor of BBL that Kankan was like, what if I grab the operator? I know that the economy, of course, when you're losing so many rounds, it's very difficult to even think of like a tool that is so expensive but so effective in so many maps that we have seen across the entirety of Valorant, having that attack and operator that actually I think mentally got to bounce back, because we were talking about the teams being here and the stage getting loud. I have never, and I am from EMEA, heard Loita scream the way that he was screaming at them. The rest we see sometimes here and there, but Loita's kind of like a good boy, you know?
Yeah, let's take a look at some of those highlights here, because again, the gameplay required the pop-offs that came out there, especially in overtime. EDG started getting loud, BBL started matching, and then every single round, especially that 2v4 later on, that was game-saving by EDG. And remember, this was BBL's map pick, and we talked about coming into it, the form of these two squads. Will BBL be able to stand up to EDG, who has been doing well lately? They come out on fire and just aren't able to close it on out as we take a look at some of the big moments.
I mean, we have to say it once again. ETG have a sub here. This isn't even their full strength roster, and they just won what seemed like an unwinnable map. The level of composure that they have is insane.
I also want to highlight Jenny. We were speaking about him going back on the duelist. Some of those showstoppers, I feel like we were seeing it every couple of rounds. Some of them were so impactful. The kills across the smokes, having those kind of preparations, they're so important right now. You know, you play the Phantom, you have to spam those smokes, especially the way that BBL were playing. Honestly, the highlight for me was the entirety of the match. I know that it was very of the map. I know that it was very long, you know, but I feel like everybody had their moments to shine. Like that clutch where Kreven was in, where he was 1 kill away from getting like I think it was a 1v4. Were absolutely insane rounds. And if the rest of the tournament is going to be like this, I mean, the bar is already incredibly high for the rest of the teams.
Yeah, I think one thing that jumps out at me is the pause that was used in overtime, the timeout that was used in overtime by BBL to make the adjustment on the C push, where it's like, all right, we're going to sit back with the judge. You can see every single person, not just the players, the coaching staff as well, on point here, because it is so important in this group stage to work your way on out, get that first win.
Yeah, I can't believe this is map 1 of the tournament. This is the type of map that makes you love Valorant when you get into it. The tactics on both sides, the shooting, the individual brilliance of a lot of these players really just coming to shine. But I think now as we move towards Ascent, the question has to be for BBL. You have to find a way to reset here, because this should have been yours.
There is something very important that Tom was mentioning, and is the fact that, well, map 1 was long. If you are from EMEA, you know that Ascent and a Turkish team.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hell of a long map for that one. And especially considering that both Kankang and Lovers Rock are leaning so heavily into the operator. Really looking forward to see both approaches from the teams, because we did see BBL play in Ascent during the qualifiers, and we saw them playing with the Deadlock.
Yeah.
I want to see if that we're going to see that again. And most importantly, what is ETG going to be doing? Are we going to see something very vanilla, very boring? Probably because of the situation that they're in. Actually, that calls for both of them. Like, what would you do? Because you have experience coaching. Okay, so what would you do? Would you go for? Sorry, would you go for? Okay, we're going to play it simple because we're playing with a sub, or let's go with something spicy. They're not going to expect it.
You know that they got something spicy. I want to see them take risks here. This is game one. You know, I think you have a little bit of time to experiment. It is that GSL format, and you're a map up. So they can play that kind of pretty standard, boring comps, but I don't want to see that. The one thing I do want to see is Kankang on the jet. If he's on anything but the jet, I will storm that stage myself.
What if it's a chamber?
Oh, okay. You've convinced. I can see chamber.
Would you be down? I know that it calls for a jet because it's Kankang. Like, also, like, he holds everything. What about a cheeky Yoru?
No.
You
lost me there.
I thought that you
Didn't
liked
we
something.
talk about it? The Yoru was one of the reasons why EDG started struggling a little bit. The meta moved away from that.
But
and
that's
now,
exactly something that they're not going to expect. But you are right.
I mean, they won't expect it. We won't expect it.
well, again, this is the fourth most played map here for EDG on Ascent. I feel for BBL because they had him on the ropes, right? You were just a couple of rounds away. You had so many in the pocket. They tried to call it a timeout at 11-8 to be like, hey, let's settle down. EDG's warming up a little bit, but we have so many rounds in the pocket from the first half. We should be able to close it out. What's the mentality of a squad like that who had success early on in the league year and now are starting to struggle a little bit?
I mean, you got to find a way to not doubt yourself. We've seen the PRX players talk about this in the past. You got to have that short-term memory loss. You've got to have that goldfish memory. You got to be able to put these behind you because they know that they played well enough to win that game. It wasn't a question of the level of Valorant. It's a question of composure.
Right.
And we know, we've seen them have success over in EMEA. It's not like they're known to crumble. They just have to remind themselves that they are good enough. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of that stage. It doesn't matter that they're world champions. You're capable to win this game if you play the way you can.
I think that we can also think about how aggressive they were from the defense, especially here on Lotus, and how much are they going to learn about how that worked out? Because that aggression on the defense that gave them so much, like even when they got a pick, sometimes the overheating was there, and they need to learn to get composure in those kind of situations because also it translated to the attack, making a lot of unforced mistakes.
Yeah, well, we are underway here in Paris. The champions of China take the first map, but BBL will battle back here on Ascent. Don't go anywhere. You're watching EWC 2026.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Qiddiya City, powered by Play.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible.
Mother,
welcome back to EWC Valorant 2026. Digon here alongside Kukuka and Big Time. And yet again, we're back. It's EDG 1-0 over BBL. EDG, the #1 seed from China, up against BBL, who started off on fire in EMEA. They qualify on in as the final seed. They lose their map #1. Now we head to Ascent, Kukuka.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be an interesting one also because of the bar that we were speaking about, that first Lotus set, but also because I think that they have to calm down. I know that the beginning was a little bit difficult because we have to wait and whatnot, and that might throw you off. They try to stay on top of that, but it really looks like EDG has adapted very, very quickly to the way that they want to play. And it's because they have a lot of experience. It is very difficult to throw something at EDG that they haven't seen before. The aggression, yes, is going to work because, trust me, BBL can shoot, but eventually EDG will pick up.
Yeah, for sure. They're so good at adapting. You see how they get themselves back into the game in this second half. Their defensive side especially was so solid over on Lotus, but now towards Ascent. So it's EDG's map pick, even though they've been banning it. But Ascent is a notoriously Turkish map. It's a map where the whole country seems to thrive through that, they have that pure aim, that firepower. You see it time and time again. So I think this becomes really hard to predict, and I do think that the idea of mental and composure is everything here.
Morgan, but this could be what we want, okay? So Turkish Valorant, right?
Yep, I'm there.
So they win Ascent, and then what do we get?
Sunset!
Exactly!
That's what we want to see,
There's
people.
a plan. You need to plan. You need to plan. It's all here, guys. It's all here.
All right, let's head on over on stage as they are getting ready for Agent Select. Again, before we toss into the match here, I want you both to pick one player to step up, right? It's all about earning things here. Nothing given, everything earned. Who's going to be the hero for each team?
Can we wait until we actually see the agent picks? Because I want to know what is going to happen with the sub situation and if they're going to, playing in a different role.
That's true.
So for that, for the side of BBL, as I was saying, I think that I know that the one that didn't put up the numbers was Rose, but that is also the way that it is in EMEA, and he always says that he is just there to make everybody else shine, and with the players that he has, it's very easy to do something like that. To me, I kind of want to keep seeing the operator duo. I'm kind of really enjoying the Kang Lovers Rock because none of them is scared of the other.
Oh, definitely.
And I think Lovers Rock started so hot in that map one. He was consistently finding those openings down C with that operator, and you see it slowly come to a stop as Kang begins to activate. For me on the side of BBL, if he's able to be consistent, he can do so much work for them, but he can't afford to fall off, or you start to see that composure, that experience from EDG outshine them.
Composure, experience, and also the mental side of this. We always speak about how it's easier to bounce back from a game where they just destroyed you, from a map where, as we said, they had everything in their favor. Winning the 2 pistols, some crazy rounds, the ninja defuse, the ecos and whatnot. So let's see where they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Agent Select coming through.
Oh, a chamber! Okay.
It's getting spicy for EDG.
And the
on that chamber.
Sage!
And I love the
Oh,
Sage here.
I love this!
See, no, you asked me, Kukuka, do you want to see them play standard or do you want to see them get a little bit spicy with it? And they've done exactly that. They're not
love
afraid.
this.
But on the side of BBL...
Sage, God. Okay, seriously, I want this to be an absolute stomp from EDG. I cannot believe that I am saying it, but I want them to destroy right now with this composition. I want that to give them confidence to keep doing it throughout the tournament and to do it in China as well.
I will say it's going to be tough in this first half. They have to attack into Cypher Deadlock without much to really be able to burst through. Not a lot, no verticality. Only the Phoenix there as that solo duelist. So I think this first half is going to be crucial for that double senti of BBL to be able to build up some numbers, put a real stop to EDG.
Yeah, again, this is a Group A matchup, EDG and BBL, alongside RRQ and 100 Thieves, which will play later on. You want to get that great start here. And for EDG, they were on the back foot and showed the spirit of a champion, forcing that overtime, time and time again, going to all 5 overtimes, 34 rounds, but get the job done in that last map on Lotus. Here, pulling out this composition that is exciting. It's changing things up. As you said, it's been banned. Ascent has been their ban and now showing up with something new that maybe BBL won't be prepared for.
And it's also the change of roles, right? Like we saw Jenny going in the race on Lotus. Now he's in the Omen, and it's going to be Signed, who is going to be going on that Phoenix. There's force the players from BBL outside of the site. Just play for that plan, and then just play for the post plan. If you are EDG, you have a lot of tools to try and delay them. I want to know though, from that post plan, how aggressive they're going to be.
All right, here we go. Already one map win here for China as a region. They only had 2 map wins overall all of last EWC. Let's see what happens here. We're going into Ascent, EDG and BBL.
Alrighty, it's time to get into this map number 2, Tom. If the first one was anything to go by, well, it was, I think we might be in for a long day. But Kukuka says she wants to see a blowout for EDG. A one-sided affair from start to finish.
It's kind of mad that we have an EMEA traitor in the form of Big Time on the desk, and now Bayer's starting to do it too. I feel like there's a full conversion coming in, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I would still love to see a lot coming out, but it's Kankan already managing to get a couple of openers. Chichu finding another as well. We were worried about the entrying in towards the site, but it seems like Kankan has them covered in the pistol.
2. Rock and Lloyd with it all to do, and well, for anyone that does want to see a blowout in favor of EDG, this is the start you're looking for. Look at Kankan already sneaking up behind. It could even be a knife kill being plated up, but said he's going to grab the easy one. Confirmed the kill. 3 under his belt already. And Larocque, with it all to do, should be impossible and proves to be 1-0 for EDG. And this pistol gives a lot of value to this EDG side. As you heard from Big Time earlier on, this first half is going to be crucial for BBL, playing the double Senti. Now, look, we've seen over time, and things do change as different metas evolve, but I think especially with Deadlock, that double Sentinel on the attack side isn't as weak as you would think. You're missing some pieces, sure, but when you do get onto the site, you can lock that down. You have a lot more flexibility in terms of the utility you have to stop floods, to stop early aggression as well. So it definitely does still have its benefit, but I do agree with him that this is the half where it has the most for most teams.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the case for both teams. Is that you're going to... Normally with a Phoenix, you'd expect it to be more attack-sided, but I think just having those contact flashes is really good. But then also, you've got a Chamber and a Sage, both of which are always pretty deadly when it comes to that defensive side. Already, Kankan has managed to walk into their spawn. Now, of course, this is an eco round. I can forgive it in an eco round. In fact, it might even be worth it happening now rather than any other time. Instead, he almost gets a collat. It's going to be a stronger weapon would have done the trick. Already, though, getting towards that tour de force, which is a pretty scary prospect, and another ult that's building up now is the run it back.
Of course, Kankan is the one to make that play, a weaker weapon in play in the form of Marshall. A very clean round for EDG, but I understand BBL in this round, you don't expect to see a player fishing for information like that because you're risking giving a weapon over, and often grouping up, taking that clump play is what works. Kankan really sealed the deal without any danger exposing his teammates to any. Now, the formality out of the way. The first 2 rounds, a little bit more predictable, a little bit more standard, a little bit plain. But now the spice comes into the mix. A bye for both teams and a strong 3rd round for EDG. I mean, this is a bonus, sure, but they have credits and they've got pretty much a full bye here. McConkon already 5-0. A tour de force might not be far away. So for BBL, you need to be careful. That's a little over-aggressive, I thought, from Lover's Rock, but he does get out with 1.
Yeah, had the dash available. That's going to be enough to allow him to escape, and now the contact. I like the wall boost. It gives them an angle that you wouldn't normally have. The spam damage has actually done a significant amount, and the Molotov's going to force Loiter into a move. Even still, though, both players still standing, and now you have that barrier mesh put into play. Even still, though, a hefty amount of damage done onto those couple of players that definitely makes things a little bit more uncomfortable on that side of the map.
Oh, it's going to make this push a lot easier if BBL hadn't rotated so many players into position. That's the other problem. Now 4 standing by here with Rose covering the flank, and they will slowly walk away. They did make some noise. I think LaRock will have heard that. But often that's going to be a bait from the attack side to get you to push, to get you to peek, or to get you to rotate. Rose
has to get something.
There's 3 players on that catwalk. They're not even looking at him. It should be free, and he gets nothing.
Throwing net.
This has been a problem. He's been in good positions, but he's never been finding the kills, and because of that, they're going the other way. Now, the only danger is that they are a little low on time, but they're going to get past all the utility before that's a problem. And also, they've caught Loiter on the other side. This is an opportunity for a great start, especially with a lurking Kankan wrapping around the back and the re-swing as well. A nice attempt from LaRock, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Great read from EDG. The second that they killed Rose, they realized, why would he be there?
Yeah.
It's because they've already rotated because we made so much noise. Instantly, they direct themselves towards B. What would have happened if he just stayed tucked, not even took a shot? They would have ran with 20 seconds left into a 4-man stack on a site that has a lot of choke points for those numbers to hold. That would have probably been a lost round for EDG, and a mistake there sends EDG miles into the lead. A 3-0 start and a very low buy for BBL in this round. They're saving credits for the next. And a 4-0 for EDG is a terrifying prospect, especially with the second round being clean. They have a lot of credits built up. And if this is clean as well...
A lot of credits. No ultimates used yet because they didn't get to any of them. So now they're built up for this round. And there you go. Run it back just to try and send it through some of that utility. Early pick coming in. Oh dear, another opportunity, but not taken. Kreven's only going to get the 1, even still trading back into a slightly more even scenario. The Bucky on the side, then they're just not checking. They're not checking. He lands a shot, but it barely does any damage, and the spams will be enough in the end. It's not clean. It's not pretty. It's not a round I want to remember, but it is a round for EDG.
Yeah, I'm really glad they used that run it back to avoid any unnecessary damage taking place, or in other words, to avoid losing the round, because they didn't clear Kreven there. He should have even gotten more. And then Loida ends up landing a tag with the Bucky close range. This is very nearly a lost round, but hey, they had a lot of wiggle room to work with because they had a lot of credits built up. So the important thing for BBL there is, yes, they did damage. Yes, they kept the squad a bit more modest. But the downside is EDG don't really care. They can come into this round with a full buy. They can go into the next one with a full buy. They have a tour de force to work with as well. So not even investing into the operator and still having that one-shot weapon on Concon.
Which one?
Exactly.
With him, it's all 3. Oh. LaRock. Annihilation is available. But it's picking a time to use it that will be more important. He's definitely slowed them down. I like the little aggression up the top, then use the Annihilation, tries to make it harder to break. Instead, he's spamming forward, and Rose will be the one to find the kill. Loiter in the corner has also done incredible work. And although it's taken them a little bit of time to get going, this one will be clean.
And you can see why this comp is so strong on the defensive side, or why Big Time was talking about how important this first half will be for BBL, or more so for EDG, because the second half will be a little easier, but pushing into this Senti comp should be tough. And here you see exactly why. You have a Cypher set up on B, you also have a push in B as well. And then that Deadlock utility not only helps on a main where they run out into a Sonic Sensor and get stunned, giving an easy tee up for Loida to slam dunk at home. And then on short as well, you have the net going through, the kill from the net, and then the ult, which also caught a player who was hit by the net. So when you're out of the ult, you can't move. And it's the easiest follow-up of their life. The defense, yeah, you get that one. But a lot of that came off LaRock's setup, catching them off guard, and the ult being online.
Early bit of damage, but looking like a much more direct take. Again, though, that sensor in an aggressive position and executing onto it could cause an issue. Instead, they're going to try and utilize the Hunter's Fury to give them a little bit of extra space. The problem is, hasn't found anyone. They don't know what positions are cleared, and they do not clear LaRock. Another great start to the round. The net has actually caught 2 players as well, but he's just making sure they stay safe at this stage. A lot of early damage. And sure, there's a res available, but is there an opportunity to use it?
Look at where the bodies are. Not only are they behind the wall, but there's 3 players ready and waiting for that res to come through or for another body to come through that
And
choke
mid is
point.
covered as well with the operator.
No risk of the rotate back, and then because they've got double Senti, not only do you have that Sentinel slowing you down on the A site, you have information for BBL. Nobody on the B site, but a camera and a trap waiting there. And yeah, it won't be ideal if EDG just walk in, break the trip, and get a plant, but that's why they've got this man around. Lovers Rock realizes they have enough time now to have rotated, so he's set up and waiting for them.
Been hitting one here could be enough.
12 seconds.
They also know that they're rotating this way. He still doesn't have any friends to play with at this point, but the TP to the back of site, he could just ignore it or at least try and wait out a little longer. His teammate in position, and he has done the work. A back-to-back flawless round from BBL. And this time, well, I'm a little happier to see that it was Lovers Rock on the other side of the map. No offense to Rose, but he's definitely been having some fairly devastating whiffs in this game so far. Lovers Rock, not so much. He's been having a good day.
Well, there was a point, like 20 rounds into the last map, Rose had only killed people who were looking the other way. So
yeah, and even when they were looking the other way, he still didn't get the kill.
I think it was about 50% conversion rate, so which includes going into the overtime, the runaround onto Jenny. It's been a rough day for Rose.
And sometimes he's hella clutch.
Sometimes the leaders call from behind. Back behind the front lines.
Yeah.
That's what he's up to for now. But we have seen it, like even going through the qualifier, Rose was dropping 20 like almost every map. It was definitely a standout for this squad. And that's the thing, right? BBL have a lot to fall back on because he was the one that was discussed when they were going through that Ascension run through the Tier 2 that like, oh, all of these guys, the young guys on the team are going to be in VCT. Whether they qualify or whether they get picked up, we know it's going to happen. But people were like, oh, even if they make it, even if they get all the way through, Rose is going to be on the chopper block. He's old, he can't aim, and all these things. And then he showed us right away, even through that run, that wasn't what he was, that he had that extra gear to shift to. Yeah. Maybe we need to see that here today because it has been a slow day for him.
Yeah, I think as well. He's one of those people where a lot of people will focus on the IGL stats. I think if you're winning games, it's completely irrelevant. Like, the fact is, this squad has talked about being like a family for quite a long time. I think that's why when Comeback initially left, it was a devastating loss. But Lovers Rock, the man who replaced, quickly became a new member, an adopted version of that family. And the thing is, I think it wouldn't be the same without Rose in it. You'd have that firepower, but you would lose so much more. Now, a good couple of rounds, like not just, okay, you're looking at the scoreline 4-2, you're saying that's not great. 2 rounds where 0 people have died on the defensive side. And that sets you up wonderfully for rebuys. If you want the operator, you can have the operator. And I think for EDG, it's going to be fairly important that they break back quite quickly. But this round, not looking too likely.
No, but I mean, Headhunters on Concon's basically an extra rifle every round. Raz online for Chichu might bring Concon back, so that's an extra gun every round. And
so your strategy is basically pass the wheel. Pass to.
Oh. I know what that means.
Okay. No time to explain.
Okay. But I'm sure that is my strategy. Unless it's a bad thing, in which case it's not my strategy.
No, it's a reference some people might get, some people might not.
I'm the latter of those. Can explain it to me for tomorrow. That's a trap broken to start with, but there is a second one here, and this was the idea from Previn to have that little backup to give them space to contain the walkout, although not through the alley, but playing this very, very slowly. Contact on B. B players now from the defense in that direction, but this wall's going to cause problems. Oh, no, it's not! In fact, it's going to cause problems for BBL. Oh, the Rock was walking up to it to have a little look.
Oh my, okay, maybe the pistols are actually a benefit rather than doing any damage. Concon with 2. Previn, he's trying to save the day though. The problem though is if they can get the spike, they can leave. Oh, a res there, yeah, I was about to say, that would just be sending that player into the wolves. Instead, space is being taken. Concon's retrieved the gun, the res is available, so maybe he could play a little bit more aggressively, and he's been spotted, rotating in towards that A side, but being spotted and dealing with him is a completely different story.
So no chances for the res in the end. Plant to come through. Concon goes down. Of course, you can't bring him right back. Yeah, they're split. An op on the retake as well. Lovers Rock will take his time, making his way through A main, hoping to catch an angle. and find that shot with the op. His target right down below. It will be Con in hell that he's searching for. The barrel's been spotted. He knows now that there's one there. Kraven's trying to pull them out into the open, and he does a great job at that. Lovers Rock there for both of the final kills, but a big round from Kraven gave them this chance.
Oh, yeah. They should have been dead to rights. Was it 3 picks going the way of the attack side in quick succession? 2 for Con. His lurk timing was perfect. Nobody then wins a fight, and then Kraven just turns the round on its head. Mr. Impact himself saving them once again, and it's going to be at lead, slowly slipping. The 4-0 start for EDG. Obviously, what we can say is it doesn't matter too much because we've seen what they can do in the second half on a defensive side, but I'm sure after going that far into the lead, they will have wanted to at least look to try and convert the half.
Pausa técnica mola. We'll be taking a breather, but what we've seen so far is exactly as Big Time said. You know, I'm starting to think he might know a thing or two about Valorant, but I'm not too sure yet. He said
it's not about food. He knows nothing about food.
No, absolutely not. Although,
no.
Ask that man about a fruit platter, and he'll tell you a thing or two.
He is an expert. He is a big fan of
intimately familiar with that.
Yes.
But he said that the double sentinel composition was going to be key for BBL. Key? Well, let's put it this way. It's the key for BBL, and it's the lock that EDG have to break. And when it comes to this defensive side, when it comes to the rounds BBL have put up, all 3 come off the back of those sentinels. Kraven, not so much with the utility.
I don't know,
no more him popping off.
It's a bit of a stretch.
But him playing the anchor is the reason that he's over there, even when there were numbers, even when they dealt with those first few players, he was still there.
What was the first blood of the round?
I don't remember.
It was one of the Sentinels getting caught out by their own utility and being shot in the head.
Oh, the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the other thing we got to talk about. You throw the wall there. Okay, maybe you're trying to clear there could be a guy in the corner. I mean, he's going to break the wall if he's there. He'll give that away in a moment. He's not going to sit there for 40 seconds. Why did he go walkabouts? Why did you walk towards? That's like you throw the wall, rotate. And now we've got info for a bit. But that was a different approach up against an eco. And I honestly think he got exactly what he deserved.
Well, for now at least, EDG do still hold onto the lead, but you're starting to see, as you were sort of alluding to, the terrifying prospect of what this composition can do on the defense, the awkwardness that it can create, and even just, again, like seeing that operator have impact from Lovers Rock, it makes me quite happy, because I think we talk about the pressure put onto players to perform immediately, and when Yoro was nerfed, it was clear that he had to sort of reinvent himself a little bit. He was one of the best, definitely within EMEA, maybe even the world, on that agent, and it became almost his character. Like, he had to keep going in that direction, and when it got nerfed to the point where it didn't have that same effect, he's had to change, and that has definitely taken some time. We saw some vulnerable, some weak performances when it came to the EMEA stage, but he started to get better towards the end, and I think we're seeing that now, leaning more, even more so into the operator, and especially on defensive sides, I think he's a force to be reckoned with.
Nice little angle as we saw the boys get ready to get back into the game. EDG setting their seats up, gave that same aura as like the Space Marines suiting up. And this could be a big battle for EDG. It's been a struggle up against this defensive side the last 3 rounds. A lot, oh my goodness. A lot of control for BBL in the passive plays. They've walked out with the operator. Lovers Rock finds one, and he's scot-free out of there. If he goes now, that's a beautiful start to this round when so much of it has been about sitting back and waiting.
No smokes.
Now they take it to them.
Okay, they got smokes again. Rez baited out, but no control gain. Normally you might send a player in, they get traded, res them, you have an advantage. In this case, no advantage whatsoever, other than the fact that you really need your smokes. And more so far, been a rough map for Gianni. He was looking very good in the previous. Oh, this is a different task, and Loiter has gone walkabouts as well. This is almost becoming disrespectful from BBL. Walking up behind, Lovers Rock also then finds another pick. The remaining 2 are in some serious trouble. I think the net catching one, and LaRock finishing his prey.
A very different face after that timeout, the breather that we had a moment ago. Of course, it wasn't a strategic conversation with the coaches, but this is the read the players had. We want to play a little bit more aggressive. Get back to how we'd like to play the game. And as I said, after finding 3 rounds in a row off the back of passive play, I don't think EDG saw that one coming. And after the first bit of aggression, I don't think they saw that second one coming. Nor should they have.
Is this? I can't remember if they took one in OT. Is this the first tactical pause we've actually seen from EDG?
They did take one in overtime.
Okay.
I believe.
In regulation,
Oh, actually,
then.
it could have been because they get them back in OT, so it could have been BBL again.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think we
I'm
didn't
not
see
certain.
that one. We definitely saw like 2 from the BBL side.
During
but even when they were
regulation,
very
we saw
far
2,
down,
yeah.
I don't think EDG took a single one. But after losing 4 rounds in a row, I think it's also just the manner which they're losing them. Like losing picks to the operator, irritating, using a res to get it back, irritating, and then being full flanked, like a player managing to push all the way up A. That's a problem. And it seems like what's happening right now from the BBL side is they're doing a good job of disrupting whatever play the attackers want to make. Like, okay, you have a plan to do this, well, now you've lost a player, and you're trying to react to me rather than going in with your own plan. So we'll see if they're going to manage to fix that. Of course, again, weaponry is going to be a bit more of an issue in this round, and they don't have any ultimates to play with, bar if they can get an extra orb for signed.
Oh, this is a nice spot. That goes there.
Well, barriers up again after the timeout. Round number 9. Someone bet to take the lead. Lover's Rock. Not going to hit the shot to start with. It going back in. Flash. Well done for Sign to at least get them around that corner, but this madman is going in once more.
Too much.
Yeah, a little bit too much. He's
an eco,
punished
bro.
massively. This is it's against pistols. And now you're playing up close, Rose, and you're a madman. They've allowed a flank again. What is happening in this game? BBL need to tighten up the gameplay. They've done pushing on short against an eco. They're making every cardinal sin, every mistake in the book. 3 versus 5 now. Weapons recovered for EDG. Run it back online, and Jenny's probably about to just... Okay, pull her off to bed. Never mind. He's at least going to be dealt with, but still the advantage for the defense when they shouldn't have had anything to say about this round.
Oh, dear. See you later, Rose. And that leaves Craven on this site alone, under serious pressure, being rounded on by the ultimate, and he goes for the player behind, hoping that maybe the second fades. I don't mind his target selection, but I do mind just about everything else in the round.
I think he even realized, I'm going to get traded here no matter what. I might as well kill a guy that won't come back.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. It's the right call. But yeah, this... I think just call a timeout if you're BBL. Because what the hell was that? You have... I can't believe a triple peak.
Well, also
not 3 players,
the third one,
3 peaks back to back.
Okay, I still don't like it, but if he was full HP and he goes for the third one, I'm like, that was silly.
But he had his dash on, so he was like,
he had 45 HP, I think, when he goes for that swing. I'm like, hey, you get body shot out of the round. Like that's crazy. To try and attempt it.
To then push short as a response after to also leave the space during that fight for a mid flank to then push short. It's actually the short push is probably just the right play in response to everything else. He just lost the fight.
Did he see the scope?
No way.
He did.
Okay. Well, that looked like a really cool play and a cool setup, but it hasn't worked.
He got the
Trading.
kill.
Jenny's just traded himself.
Oh, no,
not so much. He'll be pulled back from what would have been the dead. In a 3 versus 2 setup. That was a crazy opening from BBL to go aggressive like that in B main. The Cloudburst blocking the op, and yet they find nothing for it except a disadvantage in the end. This time, early aggression favoring EDG. And now EDG just sitting back. They have the advantage. They have the spike. There's no need for them to overthink this. And as time ticks on, the chances of them walking into an open site or 3v1 continue to increase.
Plenty of time to play with. Like this. Craven, though. The odds of you winning a 3v1 on the site, very low. Maybe not for him, but very low. Whereas grouping up, playing it together, that makes things at least a little bit more interesting. Steps will be heard. Rose at the back of the site. Teammate just eating for the push, and it seems like nobody was watching it, but do they still expect Rose to be here? They absolutely do not! And that's where the IGL could strike. Again, we talk about him getting kills when the players' backs are turned, but hey, he has to put himself in those positions.
Exactly. He keeps getting his way behind them, so you can't really fault the guy for it. A wild attempt here. Just doesn't work out, at least to start with, because BBL want B-main aggression for 2 reasons. 1, to kill them, to fight them. And two, if they're not there, if they're close by, if they're in mid, they'll go scurry into the A site when they hear all that noise, and they'll go into not just your Cypher setup, but your Deadlock setup as well. They had both Sentinels positioned there with full utility online.
Let's play.
Instead, EDG met them on the push. Found success early on.
dear.
That's a nasty little spam from Rose. You'll love to see it. And the Phoenix down and out already. This is the only duelist that EDG have. We talked about their inability to get up and over some of these traps to get by them, and now your ability to fight through them massively nerfed.
Standoff. The tour de force available. EP just going towards the switch, but almost used as a bit of a bait. A lot of players are known to be here at this point. And it's the jump across. I like the attempt. Not quite quick enough.
And that's what gets him.
Nobody over the top. The wall has definitely been seen. They know that they're trying to play peekaboo around the window, but Pichu hasn't dropped off. He is still waiting just to see if he can find a pick.
Brock's just walled short. Going for the walk up on A main. It's no surprise the wall's there, and Concon's going to go exploring it.
Pichu goes again. It's like the 5th pick over the top of the wall. And Loiter was just sat there looking at the window like the whole round. Like, yeah, but I know you're up there.
Oh, they've turned away at the wrong moment. Loiter's been caught with his knife out. The smoke up for Rose. If he walks through this, the timing could be crucial. Concon's being so patient. The trap thrown down. It's Rose's time to go, and there we go. Striking from behind again. Rose just keeps on doing it, man.
Crazy how many just backstab kills he's actually
It's
getting.
wild, bro.
Like, that was just well played. He hears the trap, he goes, okay, well, no one's going to be looking at this now, so I'm going to run through.
But
even if he died, there was enough time that his teammate would be able to deny the spike anyway.
It's the fact that he waited because he knows it has an activation time. So when you throw it down, you're often going to wait a second to be like, does anyone push? No, okay, I can go. And then he comes out just as it's activated. You even heard it. It started to tag him, and he stepped through the smoke and took his kill just in time. Great play by Rose. Smart player. And that's the thing. See him hit these heights quite often. For BBL, early aggression on A main. The drone's going to be broken by the first man, and now the op just posts on the angle. It should be good night and sweet dreams to Concon, and that it will be.
He's been the major danger. Teacher's gone a bit quiet. And a 7-5 half looking more and more likely from 4-0 down. This has been an impressive recovery. But as we stated at the beginning, BBL have struggled on the attack side of this map. It definitely won't be a death sentence by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe just a little bit... if he had lost that fight, I might have left. But nobody... Well, we saw a 1v5 earlier today. Unfortunately, he is on the attack. And he has 45 seconds.
Well, he expects them to push him. Note to any... Here, not really going to be beneficial to save at this point. You know, you keep the gun, you keep the credits, but
Keep
then
the KD.
KD, yeah. Swap halves, and it doesn't really swap sides.
KD does.
It's true. KD carries on. Well, his slow pace has avoided the net at least, but there are 4 players between Nobody and the A side. And there will still be 4 players when he falls. 7-5 at the half. A big recovery from BBL indeed. But this is why when we saw those first, like the 3rd round especially, go the way of EDG, we're like, this is a danger. Because they've already built up a lot of runway, and with just a little bit more chiseling away, they've ended up in a pretty reasonable position. I think this half overall, at least from their camp, is going to be looked at in a positive light.
Yeah, I think it's more just the mana. Like, if you go, okay, you're going to get 5 rounds on your attack side with this composition, they go, yeah, all right, that's not too bad. I'll take it. If you go, you're going to win the first 4, and then from then onwards only get 1, maybe not so much. I think I'd be a little bit disappointed that they didn't at least level up at the half, but I think for the side of BBL, like, this is the bare minimum, but I've never really been convinced by their attack side. You look at them when they, even playing in the qualifier versus Na'Vi, a 9-3 defensive half, they then